The following is intended for mature audiences only. Discretion is advised.
When I was 8 years old, I went for this audition with a manager who ended up being my manager for like years. But they said, do you sing? Because this is New York City, and with child actors, they just automatically want to know, do you sing? And I said, yes. And I remember my mom's face being like, no, because she's obviously asking. And I'm an 8-year-old. Every 8-year-old sings because they're hopefully filled with joy. And she said, great, what can you sing for me? And I said, Pocahontas, Colors of the Wind. Paint with all the colors of the wind. And she stopped me and she said, sweetie, don't ever do that again.
Hey everybody, it's Theresa. Welcome to Exaggerated. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it.
Hi everybody, welcome to Exaggerated. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for joining me. We are doing episode 14 today, so welcome to it. It's a gloomy, cold, weird, humid day in New York City. How is it cold and humid? You might be asking. Not sure. My house feels freezing and gloomy. And when you go outside, it's still 70 degrees and it slaps you in the face like a brick wall of heat. So it's going to rain for the next 12 days. There is a hurricane somewhere and it's coming up, and I'm not a weatherman. So that's the only info I have about that. I'm so excited to be sitting here with you guys, and I have so many fun things to talk to you about. I'm wearing my most comfortable pants. If you're watching on YouTube, you might not be able to see my pants, but anyway, they're these like Banana Republic, like cargo-y like pants. They're so comfy and they're so soft and nice. And they're like kind of masculine, and I love that. Those are the kind of pants that are like in style now, is all of these like cargo-y, like loose, baggier pants, because I've been wearing them. I've been dressing like a mix of a lesbian in 1993 and my grandmother my whole life. And now I feel like is really my time to shine, because everybody's wearing like some dad pants and some granny cardigans, and they're unbuttoned and they have their little midriff out. But you know, it's good. I'm excited about the masculine, cool, earthy clothes that I'm kind of seeing, and that I've been wearing. I tried a new lip gloss. So if you're watching this video and you're like, wow, her lip gloss looks really good, it's one of those plumping ones. My sister gets me all this shit, okay? I don't go searching for plumping lip gloss. I've just never looked for one, but she gets me all this shit. So it's like this buxom plumping lip gloss, and I think it just has cinnamon in it. I remember reading an article about these like plumping lip glosses like 100 years ago, when we used to believe things. Okay, so I'm going on weird. I'm already screwing up, but like basically, I feel like we used to believe things, right? Like now we have the internet. You can be like, what's the ingredients of the plumping lip gloss? Like that's a very boring existence. I feel like in high school, when I had my first plumping lip gloss, someone was like, oh, it has cinnamon and Red Hots candies inside it, and it burns your mouth and irritates it, and that's what plumps your lips up and swells them. And like no one was like, let's check the ingredients. We were all just like, oh, there's obviously cinnamon good and plenties in this lip gloss, plumping my lips up. And we just took it for faith. It's like when everybody said that Marilyn Manson could bend over and himself, and everyone just believed it. There was no internet. We couldn't like look it up. So now I have this, I don't know, I have these like juicy lips. I hope you guys start a rumor that my lips are fake. When my husband met me, he thought my lips are fake. And let me tell you, that's still to this day the biggest compliment I've ever gotten. He was like, you fill your lips. And I was like, with what? Are they huge and juicy? Because they're natural. And I do have like juicy lips. I feel like you can't say that on a podcast. I forget everybody's not watching me like gesture on YouTube. So really some of you are just listening to me be like, juicy lips. I got some juicy, juicy lips on my face. They're above my chin and below my nose, and they're very thick and round and juicy, and I never got them from a store. I just had them like this, I guess, from when my mama and daddy had me some of their genetics mixed up and gave me these juicy lips and knobby knees. What's happening, guys? what? I'm not going to delete that. That's going to go in the episode. That's going to live forever in your podcast app. What else do I want to tell you about? I want to tell you about these 2 traffic cops. I want to tell you about Gail. And I want to talk to you a little bit about stand-up. I had a couple shows this week that were really fun. So we're just going to have a silly, fun time. I've got my little coffee in my hand and we're doing it, baby. It's the weekend's coming. I have to work this weekend. I have some work to do. I have to do an episode for you guys. I have an audition. I'm shooting some funny videos with my friend. So I'm busy this weekend. But I am happy that it will be the weekend. So let me tell you about these 2 traffic cops that I saw fighting, which I know what you're thinking. What? Did you put it on the internet? Like, isn't there those what are those Instagram accounts that show fighting? Whatever. Anyway, focus T. So I'm walking to Trader Joe's with my baby child the other day, and there's this really busy area on First Avenue. It's where the FDR is. It's where the bridge is. And it's so busy over there. And so there's always 2 or 3 traffic cops standing there, directing the traffic. And there was 2 female traffic cops the other day, and let me tell you, it was art what I witnessed, because I ended up waiting on the corner and pretending to text so I could listen to the rest. You could tell they either don't usually work together. I made up this whole story for them, by the way, but you can tell that they don't usually work together, or maybe their paths have crossed. I like to think that they started out as partners in cop school, and then one of them probably started dating the cop teacher, and that was kind of going well, and she really thought it was serious, but she didn't know that he was sleeping with a couple of the other students. And then she found out that this girl was also sleeping with him, so they got in a fight. So they're both being traffic cops, right? But they're being so snarky at each other. They're upset with how each other is doing it. There was no workflow at all. There's cars going both ways. There's cars turning, and this one lady kept, she's this way, this way, this way, to the left, 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 whatever the motions are that they do. Oh, to the right, right, right. Okay, so you stop. This lane's gonna go. Come on, let's go. And she's doing it. And the other lady is correcting every move. And she's like, hey, not that way. You're blocking these people. There's an ambulance coming. I got a fire truck on this side. I can't have this construction area blocked. Let's go. You got to do the right lane first. And the other lady's like, I never do the right lane first. And these women were adamant that they were right. And I just feel like they had some beef in the past, and they were letting it all out on First Avenue together. And then there was one guy, an older traffic cop guy on the adjacent corner, just shaking his head. He was shaking his head they've done this since cop school, since that relationship fell apart, and she swooped in and took her man. And neither one of them are with the cop teacher anymore, because they found out he's a dog, and they took their power back. But they still have it a little bit of a hardness toward each other. So they were mad. They were big mad. And they had fake nails and makeup on, but they were in their traffic cop outfits, and they were it was a movie. I was watching a movie on First Avenue, and I would give them 2 thumbs up. Siskel and Ebert says 2 thumbs up, 5-star film. Put it on Rotten Tomatoes. But it was so funny. And that's I don't know, those are the great things about New York City, when you're just walking to Trader Joe's, just going to pick up some cold brew and a prosciutto flatbread. And on the way, you get a cinematic fight scene. It was great. It was really great. I wonder if the guy is going to tell the supervisors and break them up, they shouldn't be working together. It wasn't efficient. That ambulance stayed waiting. That construction zone was blocked. Those people late for work, all because Rhonda and Pearl were nope, not working with her, not doing it her way. I don't know. And then I was walking, and then so I bought a suitcase too. Not at Trader Joe's, guys. Don't be ridiculous. Trader Joe's has food, but there's a TJ Maxx nearby, and I needed a suitcase because we're going away soon. And ours broke, so we got rid of it. So I got a new suitcase, and I was like, oh, this is a perfect time to get a suitcase. I've got a stroller, a baby child, the basket under the stroller is full of groceries. let me buy 2 suitcases. Let me pull in to TJ Maxx with my hard-boiled eggs and half and shop around for a second, find 2 adequately sized suitcases, pay for them, have the woman stack them together, and just wheel it all home. You guys can imagine how that went. It was a hot mess. And on the way, I met a woman and she said her name was Gail. And I don't know if I just have that face where people are like, hey, girl, we need to talk to you. But Gail came up to me and we were on the corner waiting with all of our belongings. It probably looked like I was fleeing a domestic because my like suitcase, baby stroller, stuffed some food underneath. I'm like, I just got to get out of here. There's something more for me on the other side. I've got to leave. A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops. That was me on the corner, just trying to get by with my suitcase, my groceries, and my baby child. And Gail was probably like, I'm going to help this young woman fleeing adversity. When really I was just trying to get my prosciutto flatbreads home. But anyway, so we're on the corner and Gail comes over and I was trying to keep my child awake because we were going to be home in like 2 blocks, and she started dozing because that's her favorite thing to do. She loves to have a silly time at Trader Joe's and then fall asleep in the stroller like this is just a free-for-all. And I'm like, no, girl, I work while you sleep. You got to take that nap in the crib for the exact amount of time. Like, we can't do this. So I was kind of playing with her, jostling her shoulder a little, and I was like, "Deek, stay awake, dook, wake up, baby girl, whatever, let's sing, let's play a song, whatever song and dance I was doing." And Gail, who was approximately 175 years old, but fit, she had like a cute like Lululemon set on, face was completely smoothed by cosmetic procedures and injectables, and the rest of her body was as wrinkled as a prune because she was so old. And these are my kind of people. You guys know this if you listen to this podcast. You know how bad I need a granny, and you know how bad I miss my granny and my nanny. And so I saw Gail come in and I said, there's my people. Hello. And she was like, she's so beautiful, about my baby child. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. I'm trying to keep her awake so we can get home. And she goes, oh my gosh, I have children, but they're grown. And then she looked at my child and she said, do you want to meet my children? They're not children anymore, but they'll always be children to me. And I was like, Gail, I love you. I love you, Gail. What's going on? How are you? And she goes, I didn't even know. We live really east in New York City, like really far near the water. And, she goes, I didn't even know. Where are you going? Because she saw the suitcase. And I was like, oh, I'm just heading home. And she said, were you traveling? She definitely was basically asking, are you fleeing? You know, like, are you Reba McEntire? Is this a Reba McEntire music video? Do you need aid and assistance? And honestly, she looked so rich. I probably should have been like, I'm fleeing. And maybe she would have handed me a little $100 handshake, a little hundo to the palm. I don't know. But anyway, I wasn't looking for money from Gail. I was looking for companionship. So we walked the rest of the block together and she goes, where are you going? And I said, I'm going home. And she goes, are you coming back from a trip? And I said, no, Gail, the suitcase is empty. I grabbed it after Trader Joe's because I need to buy a suitcase. And she was like, are you going to the beach? And I was like, well, not today, but I am seeking a beach on this upcoming trip. So we're walking and she says, well, I'm going for an MRI. Isn't there only hospitals around here? How are you going home? And I think Gail thought I was telling a lie. I think she was trying to get to the bottom of my adversity. And so we're walking along and she goes, there's homes over here? And I was like, yes, Gail, there's apartments everywhere in New York City. And she was like, I'm telling you, 20 or 30 years ago, no one would have even come over here unless they had an MRI or a CAT scan. And I was like, you know what, Gail? I hope you're okay. And she only had, I think she was going for her leg or something. She was fighting fit. She was chilling for another probably at least 8 to 12 years. But she couldn't believe how far east there were homes. But I love her very much. And she was so cute. And she said she raised her kids in New York City and now she still lives there and she wouldn't have it any other way. So she gave me some reinforcement. That's not the word. Some encouragement. So she reinforced my idea that I could raise a kid in the city, which we're doing anyway. But it's nice to hear that people do it and they like it. Because oftentimes you have a kid and people are like, great, when will you move to the grassy knoll? And I'm like, I don't have one. My husband doesn't mow the lawn. We don't really drive. Like, we're not those people. We're city people. So my daughter's going to be a city child. But you know what, guys? Gail's kids were city kids. And they sounded successful. I don't know. So yeah, shout out to Gail, my new grandma. I hope I see her soon. I had a stand-up show, a couple stand-up shows this week, and it was really fun. And audiences are weird, man. Like, it's different. If you have a show at like a comedy club, people are there, they know what they're in for. They're looking for that experience, right? They're there to like, oh, hi, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to quietly have my drink. I'm going to watch some jokes. If you're doing like a bar show, and people do still heckle in clubs and stuff because they're animals, but for the most part, you're not really dealing with that in a club as much. And sometimes there's security that will have the people leave or whatever. So basically, I had a show at a bar a couple weeks ago or a couple nights ago, and everybody was really good, but like there was this one guy just talking the whole time, just sitting there yappity yapping. And there was a whole other area of the bar where you could like sit, have a drink. You don't have to be at the comedy show. But there was this guy sitting there, yap, having this big, deep conversation, probably a first date. And I'm like, dude, live your life for sure, but also go to the area where the show isn't. Like, sir, would you be yappity yapping in the third row of Aladdin on Broadway? You wouldn't. So don't be yapping at a comedy show. Don't like, or people call out, and sometimes you're asked questions at a comedy show. Sure, there's crowd work. Obviously, there's exceptions to every rule. But 9 times out of 10, we're not really looking for you to shout from the back that you love Tostitos and margaritas on a Sunday morning. Like, do you know what I imagine? You're like, Theresa, that is your version of a Freudian slip, because I only ever want Tostitos and margaritas on a Sunday morning, because that's who I am. But no, like there's never, like this is still people's art. I understand that comedy can be a little like rough and tumble, or it's done in a bar, or it's meant to look like it's this off-cuff thing. But this is just my comedy PSA. Like, this is somebody's art. This isn't just a guy in Dwayne Reed standing online waiting to pay for his Band-Aids and vitamin water, yapping and yelling and telling jokes. And you can be like, hey, I'm not going to listen to that guy because I'm online at Dwayne Reed. I'm in a CVS drugstore. I'm not going to listen to this guy tell jokes. You don't have to. But if you walk into Flickety Dick's comedy show at the Four Seasons Resort and Hotel in Boca Raton. No, if you walk into a comedy show, no matter where it's at, like, be respectful that is an artful presentation. This is a show. So pretend you're at Mary Poppins on Broadway and you're under the lights, mesmerized when she flies, spoiler alert, across the audience at the end. Pretend you're there, because you'll probably be a better audience member. Anyway, somebody, it was funny. My last show, somebody said this guy was really cute. He was like an older guy. And he was like, you were really great. You're so funny. And I was like, thank you, sir. Thanks so much for coming. I'm glad you had a good time. And he goes, aren't you so embarrassed to go up there and say those stories? Isn't that embarrassing? And I thought about it. And I said, sir, I'm an actress. I've been in horror films where the blood is made out of ketchup. That's embarrassing, right? I have done, as an actor, a dramatic one-woman, one-act play, and the only person that bought a ticket in the audience was the guy I was dating, and it was our third date, and I did the whole show. That's embarrassing, sir. This isn't it, right? Like, I grew up with such an overbearing family that the first time I shaved my legs, my mom stood me in the kitchen sink and did it for me to show me how to shave. When I put on self-tanner, it was Lancome self-tanner for a semi-formal. And my mom said, oh, it's only May and your skin is pale. Let's put on some self-tanner. I can help you. And she stood me on the kitchen chair and put the lotion on me while my sister and my dad ate dinner. She put the self-tanner on my arms and legs. I was in 9th grade. That's embarrassing, sir. Not this. This isn't it, right? So I think that's why, no, I don't get embarrassed by stand-up, if that's a question that you're asking. Also, I think it's fun. And I also think comedians are telling these stories on purpose, guys. Like, if you have like some of my friends or comedians I know have like really dark comedy, whether it be about their personal health struggles or an eating disorder, and it's like they're choosing to tell those stories and to lift them from the page in a comedic way. You can laugh. They've already dealt with it. Like, they've already decided. Like, comedy is like, people say, oh, comedy is therapy, acting is therapy. No, it isn't. If you're on stage, it might feel like a release and it might feel like a similar therapeutic motion, but it is not therapy to stand on stage and air it all out and like see how that affects you later. Like, that's not going to turn out well. You need to deal with your issues for real, and then you can bring that funny story to the stage. So as an audience member, the worst thing you can do is like be like, "Aw." Like, if I say, "Oh my God, I got broke up with blah blah blah," like, no. It's not, no, I've already probably processed the breakup. I've already dealt with it, and I've decided to make this funny story about it. So if there's something funny, you should just laugh at it, and you shouldn't cover your mouth. Look, this podcast is now about the rules of how to be at a comedy show. You should also not stifle your laughter and like cover your mouth and be like, don't do that. Just be like, ha ha ha, loud and proud. Like the guy in Mary Poppins, I love to laugh, ha 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 ha, loud and long and okay. This is the second time that I've sang in this episode, and I just want to apologize to your ears. Oh my God, guys, the first time I sang, okay, I don't sing. Obviously, you're like, no, we know. I 100% do not sing. And when I was 8 years old, I went for this audition with a manager who ended up being my manager for like years. And she ended up being really sweet. But they said, do you sing? Because this is New York City. And with child actors, they just automatically want to know, do you sing? Are you doing Broadway? It's not like oh, it's bad, you don't sing, or it's bad, you do, or it's good, you do sing. It's not like a good or a bad thing. It's just, do you sing? What pool are we putting you in? Are you commercial print? Can you talk? Or are you a singer and you can dance and then you're going to go in the Broadway? And so I went to this manager and she said, do you sing? And I said, yes. And I remember my mom's face being like, I mean, no, because she's obviously asking. I'm an 8-year-old. Every 8-year-old sings because they're hopefully filled with joy and hope for their future. But she was obviously asking, like, do you take lessons? Do you want to sing? And I said, yes, I do sing. And she said, great, what can you sing for me? And I said, Pocahontas, Colors of the Wind. And when I tell you, I thought I was killing it. I said, paint with all the colors of the wind. And she stopped me and she said, sweetie, don't ever do that again. And I never did. And that's why I don't sing. And that's why I never took singing lessons. And maybe I can sing. Maybe there is an Adele hiding deep within my soul, but we never found it because it was squashed. And as a mother now, let me tell you, if you ever look at my kid and say, don't ever do that again, I'm going to say, oh no, baby girl, now we do that every day. Now we do it every single day, all day, because you should never tell a baby child, oh, that was horrible, don't move forward. And obviously, as a professional, I can look back now and be like, oh, she was just like, you don't need to do that. You do commercials, you do acting, you do movies. You don't have to do the Broadway singing stuff. But there was another way to say it to an 8-year-old. She could have said, wow, I closed my eyes and thought Pocahontas was in front of me. But we're not looking for any Pocahontases today. So let's put you on the acting side. That's how you tell an 8-year-old. I didn't need my dreams crushed in that moment. I thought I was killing it. And I learned the song from my Disney recorder book. I had one of those plastic recorders that's like, hee, 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 hee. And those really annoying high-pitched flutes, if you will, clarinets, straight woodwind instruments. And And it came with a songbook, and one of the songs was Colors of the Wind. And that's where I learned the words. There was also another one that was like, Q, nature. Maybe it was just a Pocahontas songbook, because both those songs are from Pocahontas. Anyway, onward. If anyone would like to sponsor my music class lessons, my singing lessons, I would be super into it. That's funny. On this kind of note of auditions, I was had a commercial audition a couple weeks ago, and it was like on Zoom, which is like, bleh. But commercial auditions love to be like, start with your name, your height, both profiles, and a fun fact about yourself. And I was like, oh my God, I always hate those because I never know, like, and I understand why they're there now. Like, now that I'm older, I totally get like, oh, it's just there to see if you can like comfortably talk and make up a story and speak in complete sentences. And if you're normal, like, they probably don't want somebody to get up and be like, my name is Theresa Moriarty and I'm super into, I don't know, insert something like so weird. Like, on Saturdays, I sit in the dark and I paint myself with makeup, and then I start at the tips of my toes and I go up to my head with white clown makeup, and then I wear a wig and I dance around the room naked. All like, you know, then they're gonna be like, what? Why is this person? That's also what I do on Sunday nights. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're obviously like, huh? Like, they just want to hear like, oh, in my spare time, I like to read and whatever, you know? So I used to always be like, I read, or I snowboard, and it's like, what is like, this commercial's for Pop-Tarts, sir. Like, what do you want from me? What am I, or they'll say, what are you passionate about? I'm passionate about the pastry and the sweet raspberry filling and the hard, definitely made out of chemicals icing on the top, because Pop-Tarts just speak to who I am as a woman. You know what I'm passionate about? I'm passionate about the residuals and the paycheck that will come from this commercial. Do you want a brunette or not? Right? Like, let's do some profiles, a little sing-song, maybe a spin, move on. Sir, do you want somebody that can sell these Pop-Tarts while singing Colors of the Wind, that sometimes doesn't wash her hair a lot? Is that what you're interested in? Because then I'm your girl. If not, move along. You don't need to know my passions. I'm not marrying you. I'm just staying on set with you for a day talking about the Pop-Tarts. What are we doing? What are we doing? Anyway, yeah, I don't know, guys. I think that's it. I think we're gonna just shimmy right along. I think this might be a little shorter episode. We're just gonna go right into the ick, because I saw a commercial for these, and this has been my ick for a really long time. It's not really a personality ick. It's more of a product ick. And this has been my ick since I tried them in 2020, but I think because it was the pandemic and I was just like, well, tried that and moved forward. I didn't have like a lot of people to complain in person with it about. So have you guys heard of Smart Sweets? Like, I'm asking you, like, you're going to answer, hello, where's the echo? But like those Smart Sweets, like healthy candy, first of all, no. Okay, we're not doing this. If you want candy, have some candy, right? These Smart Sweets, like healthy gummies, taste like they've been pre-sucked. That's the exact way that these candies taste. And I'm putting candies in quotes because they're not candy. They are a gross representation of gelatin that has been mashed together and offered up in such a way. We don't need it. I would rather have, and they're like, you can have a whole bag for, like 11 calories and 1 gram of sugar. I would rather have 3 real Sour Patch Kids than your whole bag of pre-sucked Swedish fish. Thanks anyway. So that's my ick. I think they're very gross. And I tried them in 2020, and recently I saw a commercial for them and I was like, don't do it, people. Don't get tricked into it. Don't get tricked into diet culture. You need healthy candy. How about you just need like candy every so often? And it should be a Reese's Big Cup. It should always be a Reese's Big Cup because they taste like the Reese's eggs and the Reese's Christmas trees. That's a free tip, guys. They taste like the seasonal Reese's, but they're available all year round. So what more do you need? And my love is a happy accident because I ordered like Liquid IV, those like powders for hydration. And I love that stuff because it just helps so much with breastfeeding and just being alive and staying hydrated. And Liquid IV, I usually get like I think there's like a lemon flavor I usually get. And I think I had like a strawberry before. So I just went to like press reorder on Amazon. So I reordered the lemon flavor and they accidentally sent me watermelon. And at first I was like, oh, I would never choose a watermelon flavored for water, right? Like I just want lemon or plain. It's so good, guys. So I am now madly in love with Liquid IV watermelon. So get that flavor if you're going to get these. But don't get a lot of it because then they're going to probably raise the price on Amazon and you guys are going to end up screwing me over. No. All right. So that's Exaggerated for today. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm so glad you're here. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube. Let's have a silly time. Reach out. Let me know what you're loving. Let me know what you're hating. You could send me an email. Yeah. I love you guys so much. Have a great week.
This has been Exaggerated. Thanks for sticking around till the end. Follow me on social media @TimoLynn. That's TMOLYNN. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Oh, and join the conversation by emailing me at exaggeratedpod@gmail.com. Until next time, don't forget, it's all a bit exaggerated.